Hey guys, what's up? I'm Gilbert and I'm here to help you out in creating a Twitter timeline for your application. This is just going to be a basic call. This is what going to be our end product. As you can see, we're calling Twitter. We're getting our recent statuses. We're displaying the time that it was posted, and then here's a quick link to the actual post itself. Twitter, in this scenario, only shows you the summary of the status. So if you want to go any further than that, like for the complete status, just in case you're using like longer post, then you can always go directly to the post and get it entirely. Any pictures or anything like that it's attached to it. All right, so let's get started. All right, I'm going to show you. I have the completed code in here. I'm going to show you how it works. In reality, this is part of an application that I'm working on called Social Utopia, where you can go and post your messages. You can see your timelines. As you can see, this is the Twitter timeline that we're actually working on. After it gets completed, once you put in the application or in the timeline itself, if you want, you can style it. That way, it's not, on the actual code for the timeline being that this is getting requested as synchronous from the app itself. Then we just tile it when we're gonna actually deliver it to the client. You can go to github.com//Gilberto Cortez/social-utopia if you would like to get a copy of all the files. As I mentioned, back to the code. We're starting with the timeline, basically requiring my loader file, which is just going to create a session. It's going to open the database, things like that. Just initializing the application, the requirements for the application itself. Along with that, we're using an open source Twitter authorization application, Abraham Twitter Out. You can go to github.com/Abraham/Twitter OAuth. And that's pretty much how we're going to be contacting Twitter, how we're going to be making our transactions with Twitter, with the Twitter API. That way it's way more efficient and easy to work with. All right. So as I mentioned, we require the Twitter OAuth API that has been loaded onto our application already. If you need to know how to load it, you can always go to twitterauth.com and it'll give you instructions on how to install it with Composer, require it in your files with the auto load, blah, blah, blah. In this case, we're not using the auto load since I have a custom loader file. But you can see from there on, it's pretty much the same. So for my application, I'm also requesting the last Facebook page that it was handled. Being that Social Utopia, the way that it works is you can handle different social media apps, but they're all based depending on the Facebook page that you manage. So let me just log out so I can show you. Oh, so I guess I need to fix that one right there. So Social Utopia log out. All right, so we're logged out. So we start by logging in with Facebook on the app, which takes you to select the Facebook page to manage. In this case, I already selected one, which is Interactive Utopia. That's why it's, we get all the information displayed here. But pretty much, being that everything originates from the actual Facebook page that we're working on, that's why we have to get it and, store it on a variable so we can use it later on. And let's start, with the actual code itself. This is just a little verification, again, just more app specific for my scenario, or making sure that the user has actually logged into Twitter on that Facebook page account. Being that he can have different Twitter accounts for different Twitter accounts for different Facebook pages. Let's say that he went to Facebook page A and logged into Twitter. That doesn't necessarily mean that Facebook page B it's going to be also logged in, because that should be a different Twitter account. So we're just making sure that the user has logged in for that page up to Twitter. If it's not, then we're just returning null, which is being handled by the worker, by pretty much JavaScript in the main app, and then it's just canceling it out. That's why if you see down here, you'll notice there's only three, since Google, it has expired, so that one's null, so it doesn't show it. So that's what's going on in there. And all right, back to the call itself. So if the user is logged in to the Twitter page for that Facebook page, then we can go ahead and do the actual request for the timeline. So this is the code you're looking for. First of all, we got to get the authentication credentials. Those ones, it's when you have to make your initial request to Twitter. You're gonna go log in. Let me show you. Probably better than just explaining it. Alrighty, so we're logged out. So if we try to log in with Twitter, it's gonna take us to Twitter itself. I'm already logged in. Maybe go ahead and sign out. We use Interactive Utopia's account. There we go. So once we're logged in, we can authorize the app. It'll send us back to the application, and when it comes back, you're going to be saving those credentials that you're getting from Twitter, so that you can actually use them for your requests in the future. So if you're logged in, which we are in this case, and we save that information onto the server session, then we're just getting the token and the token secret from the server session, which we saved from that logged in that I mentioned. And then we're going to use it to create a new connection to Twitter via the Twitter auth API. And in this case, we are passing our token that we received, or token secret that we received as well from the login. And then this first two, the consumer key and the consumer secret, that's something that you're going to be getting with Twitter when you create your API. Those are going to be your private keys. I have them stored on a separate file for security reasons. That's why they're not here. But you can easily just go to Twitter developers, and then just start an API, and you're going to get that information. If you have any problems, definitely feel free to ask, and I'll try to help out as best as I can. So once we have, again, your API consumer key, your API consumer secret, the user logged in token, and the user logged in token secret, then we have created our connection. And if it's successful, then we can go ahead and actually request the user timelines for that user. So in this scenario, again, we're going back to our Twitter connection that we had created, and then we're calling the get function from the Twitter connection class, which is something that's already on the Twitter out app. And then we're just calling for statuses from the user timeline. This is actual Twitter specified code. So if you're trying to get different things from the Twitter API, you can change this. But in this scenario, we're only getting the user timeline, the statuses for that user timeline. All right. So once we get the information, all the statuses that we received are going to be stored under this variable, which we can use in the future to loop through and then get the actual values. So we store the statuses onto the variable, and then we're going to start printing the timeline content. First of all, I started with the title, just an H3 tag saying Twitter. You can pretty much do whatever you want in there. And then again, we're gonna loop through the received statuses because we're gonna get a big object that has all the statuses, all the user statuses. So we just have to go and sort them out. Um, First of all, what we're trying to do is just print the posted date and time and the text for the status. So, being that we receive the the date in that object formatted a little bit weirdly, we have to reformat it so that we can properly use it how we want to use it in the in our application. So we actually create a date time from the actual information that we're receiving from Twitter. So from that text, we create an actual, as I mentioned, daytime stamp, and then we are going to be changing that stamp to or location, which in this case is going to be Los Angeles. Well, I'm San Diego, but Los Angeles is closest to me. And then we are reformatting that actual timestamp to however we want to show it. So this is already, PHP timestamp compliant, so you can use it however you want from here on, pretty much. All right, and then we go a little bit lower, and this is where we're actually printing everything. We're just echoing a span class, posted time and date, another one for the text of the status, and yeah, that's pretty much about it. That's how we get. That's how we're gonna be getting our timeline. As you can see, we just have the H3 tag, the formatted time, date and time, and then the actual status that the user had sent before. And then again, if this comes automatically, but if it's longer than what a tweet used to be, they changed the length nowadays. Then as again, you can just go and just get an actual link to it to see the actual post. All right, like we mentioned. And that's pretty much about it. That's how you create a Twitter timeline. Again, for my specific scenario, I'm using this for my application, so I just use it as another component to the app. But you can implement it however you want. It's pretty easy. Again, you just need Abraham Twitter auth API, and that will make it so easy to work with. Probably the hardest thing here is not going to be doing the request itself, but more going through the results. The APIs usually send the results in a bit of a complicated object, but yeah, it's as long once you get a hang of it, it goes pretty quickly. So yeah, once again, we go in for the actual request, we get the token, the authentication token credentials. We create a new Twitter connection. We request via a get request the statuses for that user timeline, and then we just loop through the results to show what we want the user to see. There's more information on the object that we receive, but in this case, we're just showing this information. You can go through the actual object itself to see what works for your scenario. All right. So yeah, I hope that helped you. If you have any problems, please do let me know, and I'll try to help you as best as I possibly can. You can go to social.interactiveutopia.com to see an example of the live application that's stable, the stable version, and you can also go, as I mentioned, to Gilberto Cortes I'm sorry, github.com/Gilberto Cortes /social dash utopia to get a copy of the files. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Again, I hope to see you next time, and have a great day.